Are mud flooders as dumb as flat earthers? Mud flood theory makes the wild claim that an entire advanced civilization got buried by mud. Not that advanced then. And apparently, mainstream historians have no clue what actually happened. So, let's shovel through this particular pile of nonsense and see what evidence they think they have, shall we?
Shut up and sit down, you big bald f***.
Please subscribe. But first things first, today's video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. Being online without a VPN is like walking into a room with your bank details tattooed across your forehead. That's why today's video is sponsored by Surfshark. Surfshark wraps everything I do online in a layer of encryption, so browsing, passwords, personal information, it's all locked down. The opposite of what happens when you sign up for Dave Weiss's app. No more weirdly specific ads, no more silent tracking, and no more companies flogging my data to whoever will buy it. One account covers every device I own. My laptop, my phone, my tablet, my PC, all sorted. No extra charges, no limits, just solid protection everywhere. You know when you try to watch something and it says not available in your region? Well, not with Surfshark. I just switch my virtual location and bam, problem solved.
Look at that. Blows my mind every time.
It also helps you find cheaper flights, hotels, you name it. Being sneaky has never been so useful. And right now, if you use my code Creaky, you can get 4 extra months of Surfshark. Just go to surfshark.com/Creaky and use code Creaky to get your extra 4 months. That's surfshark.com/Creaky and use code Creaky. Link is in the description. Right, back to the video then.
Mud flood in a nutshell.
Okay, mud flood in a nutshell. So the claim is that a global mud flood in the early 19th century buried an entire highly advanced civilization, and then, poof, history was magically rewritten to hide it all. Or, and bear with me here, it didn't happen.
Introduction. History is a set of lies agreed upon. Napoleon Bonaparte.
Am I the only one who giggles every time I hear Napoleon's last name?
You know why? Because they're boners.
Mud flood theory posits a worldwide mud flood in the early 19th century, and that it buried a previous civilization.
Right, so your evidence is Napoleon's line about history being lies. You genuinely think that a catchy quote from a long-dead emperor somehow explains a worldwide catastrophe that left absolutely no clue in geological records or actual archaeology? That's not a conspiracy. That's just an excuse for a complete lack of evidence. It's pure nonsense built on a pile of dirt and delusion.
We, according to this theory, have been given a false history in order to conceal this catastrophe. The theory suggests it was both a catastrophe and an intentional conspiracy to cover it up.
So it's not just a mud problem, it's a conspiracy problem. We're being told that not only did a worldwide mud flood just happen, but that history as we know it was entirely fabricated afterwards as an intentional conspiracy to hide it. Seriously? So the entire world's population, every government, every historian, every archaeologist, every single person who lived then, somehow all decided to coordinate a global cover-up. They meticulously rewrote every book, every blueprint, every single document, and perfectly falsified geological records, all to conceal mud.
This mysterious topic has piqued the interest of people all over the world, and the evidence presented for it is quite compelling.
Let's be brutally honest here. How can it be compelling when it doesn't even exist? Now, when proponents of the mud flood trot out their evidence, it typically consists of misinterpreted archaeological features, blurry old photographs, or just pointing at some perfectly normal geology and going, mud flood! There's no evidence at all, let alone something compelling enough to rewrite all of human history and science. Piqued interest doesn't make something true, and compelling usually means compellingly absurd in the world of nonsense like this. So, let's pick apart these so-called pieces of compelling evidence then.
This obviously raises many more questions than it answers. Mudflood research will have you asking questions you never would have asked before.
Mudflood research? Do you mean type in mudflood theory into Google and then staring blankly at the images you find? And I've got a question for you, Mr. Mudflood person. Where did all the mud come from? Problem isn't that mudflood research raises questions, it's that those questions are usually based on a foundation of pure crap and a complete disregard for reality. It's easy to ask questions when you invent the premise. If your initial claim about a secret global mud burial doesn't hold water, or mud, then every subsequent question you come up with is equally baseless. It's not profound, it's just a circular argument designed to make you feel smart for questioning established facts based on a complete fantasy.
It will challenge your assumptions about the reliability of historical narratives. Mudflood theory is not an all-encompassing explanation. It's an invitation to question everything you thought you knew about history.
Genuine critical thinking and questioning history when based on actual evidence and rigorous analysis is vital. But the mudflood theory doesn't invite you to question history, it invites you to ignore it, as well as establish facts and common sense in favour of a wild claim about a secret mud apocalypse. It's an invitation to throw out everything you do know based on centuries of actual research because somebody found a basement window and freaked out about it. Mudflood! Some buildings have basements. Get a grip.
The mudflood theory involves deception.
Involves deception or is deception?
It also posits that the former civilization enjoyed a high-tech lifestyle with sophisticated construction methods not in use today.
Oh, so it's not just a mud cover-up then, it's a deception to hide an advanced civilization that had a high-tech lifestyle with sophisticated construction methods not in use today. Amazing. So these super advanced high-tech geniuses with their incredible construction skills couldn't figure out how to, I don't know, build foundations that go below 10 feet of mud? Or perhaps they just forgot to invent mud detectors for their high-tech lifestyle. And despite all this sophisticated construction, they left absolutely no clue of their advanced technology, no futuristic energy systems, no complex machinery, just really fancy bricks covered in dirt.
Many cities around the world with notable instances of mudflood affected buildings tend to have corresponding historic fires or other natural disasters.
You mean to tell us that old cities, which were quite often built with highly flammable materials, dense populations, and primitive firefighting techniques, also had fires? And that places near rivers or coasts sometimes experience floods. You know, water floods, not a secret global mud flood. Or that cities on active geological zones may experience earthquakes. It's almost like fires, floods, and other natural disasters were just incredibly common occurrences in the past, especially in the rapidly developing urban centres, without the need for a secret global mud apocalypse or some grand conspiracy or some stupid conspiracy to explain them.
These events, like all else, deserve a second look. This is followed up with the modern city being...
What do you mean a second look? You haven't given us a first look yet. You haven't done anything.
Followed up with the modern city being constructed literally atop the previous city's ruins.
Remember, right at the very beginning, I said this? Are mudflooders as dumb as flat earthers? Well, I think I'm starting to get my answer. The fact that cities are built on older layers is, get this, a fundamental principle of archaeology. It's called stratigraphy. Over centuries, old buildings get demolished, debris accumulates, ground levels rise, and new structures are built on top of the old foundations or rubble. This isn't some shocking revelation or evidence of a secret mud apocalypse. It's just how human settlements have evolved over millennia. It's not a conspiracy, it's just time and gravity.
This is a consistent pattern across the world. To name a few of these apparent mudflood-affected cities: Seattle, Boston, Oklahoma City, Syracuse, Washington, D.C.
So not that global then, because those were all places in America. Not that that comes as a huge surprise, to be fair. But let's unpack this nonsense, shall we? Seattle has a well-known underground city because after a massive fire, they literally raised the street levels. That's called regrading, not the secret mud flood of Boston. An old city built on infill, land reclamation. These things happen over centuries. DC was built on marshland and underwent massive regrading during its development. These cities and countless others have perfectly normal, documented reasons for varying ground levels or partially buried old structures. I thought this mud flood malarkey was all a big secret that only a special few know about.
Special Officer Dupey reporting.
Moscow, Paris, and Cairo. These and others are known to have catacombs, abandoned subway tunnels, and veritable underground cities.
Well, that'll teach me not to jump the gun, won't it? And what a revelation I would have missed. Moscow, Paris, and Cairo with their catacombs, abandoned subway tunnels, and underground cities. Are you honestly suggesting that these are all evidence of a spontaneous global mud flood, rather than, people digging them on purpose?
Researchers and proponents of the mud flood event and subsequent deception surrounding the event place it around 200 years ago.
Really? That's all it was, 200 years ago, during a time of increasing global communication, widespread literacy, the rise of modern geology, extensive newspaper publishing, and detailed record keeping. You're telling me a literal global mud flood happened, wiping out an entire advanced civilization, and then the entire world's population, every single government, scientist, cartographer, and journalist at the time perfectly managed to cover it up, leaving absolutely no clues in any verifiable records? Okay.
Evidence of mud flood is most apparent when one begins to look at the architecture and buildings in virtually any large populated cities. Just find buildings of a certain age that appear to have all or part of their original ground floor stories embedded below the ground.
Okay, I'm trying to follow along here. So any building with a basement proves the mud flood. Right, got it.
Indications of mud flood affected buildings are windows and partial windows visible at ground level.
Okay, I'm still following. Basements mean a mud flood.
With the explanation that they are being used for bringing light into the basement. Such basements are usually only half buried below the ground and very often not uniformly.
That just means the basement isn't entirely underground, and some portions of its walls and therefore its windows are visible above ground level. They were built that way. No mud flood required.
Many wonder if the mud flood is the same as the biblical flood that cleansed the earth of all the wicked and spared God's chosen family.
Nope, that's it. I'm done. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next week. Love you. Bye. And as for you, Mr. Mud Flood Man, eres una mierda inútil, no?
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
What's the difference between a pickpocket and a peeping Tom? One snatches your watch and the other one watches your snatch.
I don't think so. No, 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 no. I don't think so. No, 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 no. It's never, ever, 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 ever gonna